So we're mostly Mopar, and we get a lot of Buick in there. And I always get people, where's the love for Oldsmobiles? Oldsmobiles, we need Oldsmobiles. Well, we're having, this is, what's this meet called?
The Oldsmobile Nationals, Oldsmobile Club of America Nationals.
And it's literally 3 miles from my house. So how do you not come to the Oldsmobile Nationals? Also, we're supposed to meet Andy with the Hemi GTX. He also has a 442 convertible that he'll be here with tomorrow, and we'll shoot a feature on that tomorrow. But as I'm walking through the field here, I come across these things, and they literally stop me in my chest, because this is true, cool, American, early pioneer. This is radical stuff circa 1962. And Eric and Felix own these 3 cars, not together. Or
well, I own the 263.
Okay. He's 63, I'm a 62 guy.
And Eric is a 62 fan. So.
All right. So let's give a quick, Kat, let's look at these cars real quick. So, Eric, do you want to explain what this is?
1962 Oldsmobile Jetfire. It's the first ever turbocharged vehicle. There was a Chevy Corvair that come out the same year, but these were a couple weeks before the Corvair turbo. And they were high compression motors, 10 1/4 to 1 compression, and then they had 6.5 pounds of boost on top of that. So they were too hot to run on regular pump gas during boost mode. So they would inject what they called turbo rocket fluid into the intake, which is distilled water and alcohol with a little bit of water-soluble oil, and it's modern day guys call it water meth injection.
Right.
Just Oldsmobile done it from the factory.
So it's a refill bottle, and then there's the actual.
Yeah, it actually goes in here, and the car would come with that, and then you buy your gallon jug from the dealership.
Okay.
But yeah, it just injects the water basically to cool the intake air during boost mode and prevent detonation.
So that's essentially the 215 Buick motor with extra cylinder head bolts?
Yeah, the Buick and Olds both had their own version of the aluminum 215 motor.
Okay.
They're all aluminum. Oldsmobile had their traditional style heads, and Buick had their traditional style heads. Oldsmobile had more head bolts than the Buick had, but they were very similar motors.
For the majority of the stuff, they interchange parts.
Yeah, a lot of it interchanges.
So how exactly is the water injection activated on this?
It senses boost pressure. Whenever it boosts, the turbo pressure will pressurize this tank. So with this tank at 6.5 pounds of pressure.
Okay, that's through this line over here?
Yes, it pressurizes through here.
Okay.
And then that will push the fluid out the bottom through a filter into a control valve.
Okay.
This control valve, it knows when it's in boost mode or not in boost mode. Basically, it senses pressure or vacuum. And when it's under pressure, it allows this pressurized fluid to inject into the intake air, and then it atomizes as it evaporates. It's cooling the intake air.
Now, what turbocharger is that?
It's actually by Air Research, and when these cars were built, Garrett was, if I understood this right, Garrett was in process of taking over control of Air Research.
Okay.
So it's basically a early Garrett Air Research.
Is that the same blower that they use on the Corvairs?
No, those were actually a lot smaller turbo than these.
Okay.
I think they boosted a little higher, but their compression was real low on the motors versus these at 10 1/4 to 1 compression.
And this is limited to 6 pounds?
About 6.5.
6.5.
The factory was kind of wide range from when we rebuilt them. Now it's like anywhere from 5 to 6.5 is about what they were originally.
An interesting thing is they were not using the turbo capabilities up to the max. The rating is 160,000 RPMs. They were only using 80,000. Okay. So at 80,000, 6.5 pounds of boost. I've seen mine going 6.5, 6. So I think they did 1 horsepower per cubic inch back on those days. So it's amazing.
Yeah, that's the other thing. This is one of the, back in the day, the 1 horsepower per cubic inch was a big thing.
Right.
The 215 Jetfire motors were one of those. It was 215 horsepower, 215 cubic inch, and 301 foot-pounds of torque.
Now, what carburetor is that?
It's a Rochester. It's the only side draft carburetor they ever made.
I've never seen one. I mean, I've seen side draft carburetors, but I've never seen a side draft Rochester.
Yep.
Yeah.
That is very good. Now, how much of this did you find intact, and how much of it did you restore?
Well, this whole car actually was found. Ryan Brutt, that does the antique archaeology.
He's done shows with us.
Yes, he's the one that actually passed the information on this car to Nikki Performance, which contacted me.
Okay.
And the car kind of found me, and it was basically all intact. He's put in one of his books and stuff that he has, and where it's all intact. But now, when I got it, it was parked in '74. And I got it in 2015, so it sits so long I had to do some work, get it going again. And I didn't restore it at that time, I just got it roadworthy. And when I first got the turbo to boost, then the bypass control valve, which is in here, it was stuck and it would overboost, and I didn't realize it was overboosting, and I was boosting about 13 pounds of pressure.
That must have been fun, right?
Oh my, yeah, I can't believe I didn't blow the engine up, because it was cranking.
But, suck that water injection quite quick, right?
Yeah, it was.
Now, where did you find that bottle? Because that has to be the rarest.
I've actually got about 6 gallons of that stuff that I've found over the years. Most of them, the labels are all tore off. It's just stuff I've got around, but we don't use any of the old original stuff. We make it ourselves now. It's just 50% water, 50% methanol. And then you add some water-soluble oil to it, so the diaphragms don't dry out.
You don't drink it.
Yeah, you don't drink it. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, where's the skull and crossbones? How do we know?
It's on there.
Kat, show them the rest of this car, because the whole car is as much of a jewel as it is under the hood here. It's just gorgeous.
Yeah, I just finished the car about 2 months ago.
Looks good. Looks amazing.
Let me ask you, I've never seen this before. I keep seeing fire extinguishers laying out next to the cars.
That's a requirement with the Oldsmobile Club at the show. They want a fire extinguisher. If someone was to have a problem, everyone knows to go grab a fire extinguisher.
That's actually a good idea.
Yeah, it's required.
Okay.
Yeah. I hate to see one burn, but if it does, we've got 300 fire extinguishers here ready.
And Felix, what's the story behind your 2 cars over here?
Well, I'm pretty much was raised on one of these ones. My father used to own one.
Okay.
And we have a lot of fun back in the days. It was a 4-speed car.
Okay.
And we're from Puerto Rico, so on those times, the parts they're starting to be scarce for these things. And we run one until the 1980s, and we pretty much toss it away. You know, when you have something that let's toss it.
Well, how fast were you going with them?
Well, on this one here, I just found it 3 years back.
Okay.
And it brings me memories. So it's a 4-speed car. It's a 63, and 63s are unique because it's only 1 year polished now.
Okay.
The 62, 61s, and 62, they're the same, pretty much the same car, because 63s are a little bit different. So
now, when you were racing these, how fast did you end up going with it?
Well, I never raced one. It was my father.
Your father.
Back in the days, he had fun, but he used to tell me, say, hey, at one point he was the king, because the Fords would not take them. You know, the old Fords with the 265. I born in '67. I don't know about you, but I was not even alive. He was having fun already. So my dad used to tell me they're pretty stout, and as much as people I have talked, if you think about it, 215 horsepower on a small cubic inch motor, that's very stout.
And these aren't heavy cars.
No. They were what, Eric? They're 2,900 pounds?
Well, I think they're 2,700.
2,700 pounds.
That light, huh?
Because the motor is all aluminum. You think
that's true. That's true.
Well, I think you're. I think the 63, it was a little heavier. I think you're right.
I would imagine, yeah.
Yeah, the 62, I think is 27.
Yeah.
Now, what other unique features aside from the turbocharger and the aluminum motor do these cars have?
Well, Jetfire had the extra trim. That was Jetfire only.
Jetfire trims in 62 and 63 is unique for the Jetfires.
Yeah. And then,
on 63, it was only postcard. It was only hardtops.
Yeah, well, 62 and 3, they were only hardtops.
They're only hardtops.
Yeah, the Cutlass would have been a post car, and then these have the boost gauge on the console.
You got a shot of the boost gauge?
At the bottom of the boost gauge is, which you won't be able to see it, but if you run out of fluid, the bottom of the boost gauge has a light that says add fluid.
Yeah. They're just beautiful, beautiful cars.
The transmission was a 4-speed T10.
These are both 4-speed?
They're both 4-speed.
Okay.
That one is an automatic, the blue one.
Here's a picture of the car when it was new in 1962.
And it was at the same property in 2015 when I bought it.
November 62, I was 6 months old.
Yeah, well, that's when it was developed. It's in Chicago and it's green, so I think it was probably taken earlier in the year, and then they just developed it in November. But
Okay. And how many of these total did they build?
62, there was 3,000. I think it's 3,765. I can't remember the exact number. Now, 4-speed, there was only 203 built in 4-speed
Really?
in 62. And I can't remember the figures in 63.
On 63, I think they make less of them.
Less
on a
4-speed.
and a 4-speed.
Yeah, I can't remember my
Yeah.
my 63s, but
they were
between the 2 years
not too many.
altogether was 9,600 and something. I can't remember the exact numbers off the top of my head.
And what rears are in these?
They're unique to the 61 to 63 Cutlass F85 and Jetfire. It's its own animal.
Really?
Now all Jetfires had 336 gears in them though.
Okay. But the rear end itself, the housing, the pumpkin,
Yeah,
it doesn't match the same.
it
Totally
don't-
different. Yes,
yeah,
from
it's
any
its own
other
animal.
Oldsmobile, yeah.
Really? Interesting.
In fact, bosses were not too much an option. The only posse that I have found, Eric sold it to me,
Yeah.
and I got
Yeah,
it.
the posies are really rare. I've had 2 of them. I sold him one and sold another to a guy out in California that's got a Jetfire.
So, what did these cars run in the day?
I actually don't remember, and I should.
I've been tempted to one of these days go to a truck and try it.
What'd you pay for it?
Now, there is some Oldsmobile literature out there to where Oldsmobile themselves said, we're not building a race car, we're building just a fun street performer.
Right.
They really didn't intend them to be drag raced or be a race car, but
What is it going to be a
but
peppy
it-
thing?
but it's-
215 horsepower, 2,800, 2,900 pounds?
yeah, they
It's a fun
move
ride.
better than I thought they would.
I'm
yeah,
sure it
for
does.
sure.
Well, guys, thank you for sharing these cars with us. And,
Yeah, no problem.
See, Oldsmobile love, right? And rare, super rare, exotic Oldsmobile love. From the dawn of the muscle car. This actually predates muscle cars, really, if you stop and you think about it. You know, the 64 Goat and the 442 and all of that, that's the official muscle car. So these things were really oddities, because at the time, 62, 63, they were building factory race cars. You know, you get a Max Wedge car, you get a Swiss cheese cat, you get all of these things, right? But this was really a breed that didn't exist yet.
One thing that is very common is the turbos on the 62s were red. On the 63s, it was like grayish color,
Okay.
like natural aluminum color. I don't know. why
Both
they
of
did
your
that.
cars are beautiful.
I bought it because
But this thing is exquisite. It's just the coloring of everything. It's just that stopped me in my tracks. I'm walking past.
Eric
I'm just
put a
like,
lot of time on this car.
Yeah.
He deserves all the credit.
You guys really need to see the detail of this thing in person to appreciate it. Absolutely gorgeous. Well, guys, thanks a lot. I appreciate
Thank you.
your
Yeah,
cars
thank you.
and you and your time, and I'll see you tomorrow.